meet our panelists. First, Brandon Mendelssohn, right here, a former marketer turned journalist, author, and entrepreneur. He drew upon years of experience and tried every new platform that emerged on the internet to make enough money to retire at age 30. Though that didn't happen, his first book, Social Media is BS, discusses why money spent on social media is money wasted. Let's welcome Brandon Mendelssohn. Our next panelist, Kristin Ruby. She is the founder of Ruby Media Group, social media and PR agency serving Westchester and Fairfield counties. She founded her firm with a goal of opening the vast potential of social media on the web to companies wishing to build relationships and grow from social media. Please welcome Kristin. And finally, our last panelist, Ted Miller. He is plus and minus, he's pro and con. He sees a middle ground for social media. He's the president of Data Key Consulting, one of the fastest growing management consulting firms in the metro region, assisting in dozens of mid-market companies, along with multiple Fortune 500 firms, and witnessing the triumphs of social media when paired with a thoughtful strategic marketing plan. Let's give a round of applause to our final panelist. With that in place, let's begin with our first question, and my first question is directed to Kris Ruby. Throughout history, there have been powerful inventions that have culturally defined us, beginning with the printing press, the telephone, movies, radio, TV. In 1997, the internet flipped it all around by finally giving the consumer a way to control the communications message. Today, it has evolved into social media. So, please, Kris, give us your definition of social media.
Sure. So, social media is basically a set of online tools that enable people to communicate around a specific area or platform of content. Some of the big name social media networks that are out there today include Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, Pinterest, and Instagram. So it's really, again, a set of online tools that can be videos, it can be text-based, different posts on Facebook, anything that enables you to aggregate content around a specific area and community of people that are interested in that area of content.
Great. And Ted, your definition of social media.
Well, I don't know that I can top that. We view it as an entirely different way to communicate. I mean, it's completely changed the landscape. So I think the definition is as pure a definition you're going to hear. The landscape's changed. The power's gone to the consumer. The consumer. I mean, the balance of power has literally tipped. And so to not pay attention to social media and know what's out there is a risk your firm or organization just does not need to take. So it's nothing more than cataclysmic in terms of how it impacts businesses.
And Brandon.
Well, I think everyone sees me kind of furrowing my brow as I was thinking about the definitions here. So social media is a buzzword. It's Web 2.0 if anyone remembers that, and before that, new media. Same thing, new package. Created by marketers to sell you stuff. So it's just a buzzword. Just the balance of power thing isn't true. Back in 1997, AT&T Laboratories discovered what is now known as the 1% rule. And 1% rule states that most of these platforms are dominated by a very loud, vocal minority that don't actually represent everyone that might be using that platform. And these platforms have been increasingly dominated by large corporations. So the whole idea of the balance of power tipping the consumers is not true.
Over to Kris, do you have an example you want to share with us?
Of course. I have so many examples. I could spend the entire time talking about this, and I could also spend the entire time on a rebuttal against what was just said. I'm not going to because I'm not going to. So, no point doing that. So, yeah, my best example of social media actually has to do with two people that are here in the room today, two different organizations. One is Benjamin Steakhouse Westchester. The other is an influencer. I know you don't believe in influencers, but one, Stacy Knows, of StacyKnows.com. So what we actually did is we put two of them together. for around the holidays, Stacy Knows was hosting a party, wanted to get more people into Benjamin Steakhouse Westchester that hadn't necessarily been here from Northern Westchester. Stacy Knows invited a whole group of her friends, and you know, the room was packed with all of them. However, what happened at around this time was the Sandy Hook, unfortunately an awful incident that happened in Sandy Hook, that whole tragedy. So what we did is we actually changed the event midstream because of what was going on in social media and in the world. And we picked up on what Ann Curry, renowned journalist Ann Curry, was doing with 26 Acts of Kindness. It was a hashtag movement on Twitter. We decided we wanted to take that and actually utilize that right here in Westchester County with 26 Westchester mothers. So Benjamin Steakhouse also decided they wanted to get involved and donate 26 dinners to all of the families that lost a child in this awful incident. And actually what I want to read today is something that we got and received from one of the families that came in here and used that certificate that we gave them. We also raised over $5,000 from this, and a reporter from NBC found us, picked this up, and Ann Curry showed up here to Benjamin Steakhouse in person to cover this. I want to just read what was said. Your restaurant treated us like royalty. The food was delicious. The waitstaff was kind. Please send our thank yous to everyone involved in making the decision to send the generous offer. It was very sad overall. Our hearts are filled with grief, but my daughter's favorite meal was steak, so we just tried to picture her there with us. She would have given you 2 thumbs up. So I don't know how you can rebut that.
Thank you, Chris. Well, now's your turn, Brandon.
Let's hear what you can rebut that.
You seem very mad. You gotta take it in just a little bit. That's good marketing. That's got nothing to do with social media. You said Ann Curry. You were talking about the news. I had a hard time keeping track. But this was in the news. This was everywhere. So how much?
No, the event. It was all social media because they found it.
We're going to let Brandon, Chris. We're going to let Brandon do his rebuttal.
But again, this is a major news story. So to sit there and be like, oh, well, this is all social media. Well, no, not at all. Like, not even close. I mean, yes, this was a great item. Not taking away from it at all. Just to be clear. But you mentioned the news. You mentioned a major American news story that did cross all channels. Yes. However, all you did was just good marketing. That's all there is to it. And I credit you as a marketer. That's brilliant. I'd use an F-bomb, but we're in Westchester, that would be proper. But that is brilliant marketing. But to say that social media, nothing to do with anything.
Thank you. Thank you. Chris, next question directed at you. As we know, the internet is changing every single day, literally. Today, Facebook, which was once a platform for college students, created by college students, is actually old hat to teens. They're all about Instagram. And I would like you now to kind of look into your crystal ball and tell us if you see in 5 years where you think Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, where all of these will be. And I know you're kind of, predicting the future, but with your knowledge, we'd love to hear what you're forecasting.
Sure. I think, within 5 years, I think what we're going to see is more of a convergence of the social media networks together, so that there's going to be one platform that's created where you can really access all of these together in a way, and that they're, it's really owned by one major media conglomerate rather than all of these separate ones. I think that's what's really going to change. I think what you're going to start to see, again, is an overlap of some of the services that are offered in the different ones, whether it's about like a Pinterest versus an Instagram and photo sharing. I think you're going to see all of them. The key trend here, the biggest difference is the change from text to photo-based storytelling. Visual storytelling, mood boards, anything like that is really why you see things like Pinterest picking up, the Instagram picking up, and even the Facebook timeline has completely changed away from text-based sharing to over, photo sharing. So I think that's going to be the biggest change. Also, you're going to see more integration with shorter-term videos, and sites like Vine or Feed, P-H-E-E-D, Feed is going to be big. I think these sites are really important, again, because it's enabling you to share the content of your own life, of your own story in one central portal rather than in 5 different ones.
Thank you. Ted, future.
Well, we'll know it's going to be different than it is now, that's for sure, because you look back 5 years and half these things weren't even around, so it's changing at an absolutely phenomenal rate. I do agree with the thought more around video, and I do agree that there'll be consolidation. I have to go back though to this Coca-Cola. It doesn't mean it's right for the small, whatever. A couple of case studies here real quickly. Small theater company that we do work with. Small budget, tiny budget. We're talking $5,000 marketing budget for a whole year to be able to put out. What do? They've got an amazing set of followers on let's say on Facebook, and they did a little bit of advertising on Facebook, paid advertising, a little advertising on it. They had a particular evening that was not selling so well. Within a couple of hours, they completely fill it out. They go from 40% capacity fill to like 80 or 90% capacity fill by that one ad. They recognize they can't do that all the time, and there's dilution issues if they're constantly going to their to push these things. They don't want to do that all the time. But overall, this theater company's gone since the onset of social media. Not that it's 100% correlated to that, but they've quadrupled their ticket sales. And social media is a big part of it. It's undeniable. And to pick up on Kristin's point about the low barrier to entry, absolutely. I mean, yeah, everyone doesn't have to be using outside marketing firms to be doing this. They're doing it internally, and it's a low cost and high return.
Sweat equity, yeah. Brandon.
I only have 2 minutes to respond to all of that. Huh? Okay, I could probably write another book just responding to Chris's last point, but essentially, you're not a psychic. So to say that you're losing money by not using social media is bullshit. That's all I'll really say to that. The whole looking into the future thing. Listen, these platforms are not new. They've been around since the 90s. They just had different names. YouTube was shareyourworld.com. A lot of people don't know that. Share Your World was out in 1999. Same damn website, same thing. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new on the web. So the idea of like these things growing and changing, look, I'm not a psychic, but I can tell you, just to go to the video point, as a viral marketer, I know that things spread because of people at work, and this is backed up by Jonah Peretti at BuzzFeed, because people don't want to think. That's why videos and photos are shared as well as they are. That does not translate to business. People are sharing photos and video because there's no thought involved. When you are trying to sell people on something, there's a lot of thought involved. And so to sit there and go, everything is built with photos and videos, not true. Unless you're in the business of giving stuff away for free, and that's a pretty crappy business model.
Thank you.
Advice would be to really, really, really know who the decision makers are that you're trying to target, and then to go pick the appropriate channel and platform to utilize.
Great. Kris.
My one piece of advice is to look at all the different platforms of marketing that's available to you, what Ted was saying in terms of strategic marketing. If social media makes sense for you, engage in it. If it doesn't, don't engage in it. Believe it or not, that's actually what I think. If you can do it internally without hiring an outsourced company, then do it internally. But if you can't and you need assistance in that area because you want to put the rest of the budget towards print, for example, then do what makes sense for your company and your business and your long-term strategic goals.
And finally, Brandon, your one piece of advice.
Just one? Don't use
regarding
it.
social media.
Don't use it.
That's
what works.
Let's give a big round of applause for our panelists today. I'm going to invite up Bruce Newman to kind of give us a summation of what we heard here today.
There's certainly a real different perspective on, particularly between Kristin and Brandon. The first thing that really came to mind was that first question, which was, how do you define social media? And Kristin said, a set of online tools that allow people to communicate with each other. And I thought that was really very well stated. Ted was it's a balance of power that is tipped to the consumer, and Brandon said it's not a balance of power at all. What it is corporations running social media and providing you a platform that they allow you to provide. And that theme seems to have been pervasive through his whole presentation, his whole thinking.